The land of the everlasting cooking pots was located in the eastern region of Africa. In the village of Kwasi rested a pot of herbs which has been cooking on its own. The pot stirred itself, and the fire underneath burned for eternity. Come rain, come sunshine, the pot continued cooking on its own. The villagers were threatened and instructed never to speak about or research about the cooking pot by the residing queen, else the offender faces serious punishment. The villagers were unaffected at first until the atmosphere in the village got hotter. The heat from the cooking pot of herbs radiated to all parts of the village, trapping them in a hot furnace. It got worse when all could be heard during the hot evening was the sad voice of an invisible little girl, screaming, "Mama, Mama!" The villagers became scared and uncomfortable as spooky and mysterious things kept happening in the village. One afternoon, dry wind swept through the village, carrying flickers of fire from the cooking pot to people's thatched roof and set it ablaze. The villagers were drenched in thick smoke, and fire burnt down everything it touched. An angry villager who has lost everything he has to the outrageous fire summoned other villagers, and they marched to the queen's chambers. The brave man called Timbo spoke to the queen in an angry tone. "Our queen, we all can't keep pretending that everything is alright in this village. People are losing their lives every day in this hot village, and nothing is being done about it. Please, we need to search for the solution to this catastrophe." The angry villagers supported and shared his statement, but the queen looked cunningly at him and dismissed them with a shallow statement. "I have the welfare of the village at heart." The cooking pot's menance got worse as the heat radiating from it dried up all sources of water in the village and made it difficult for crops to grow. The village was struck with great drought and famine. While Timbo was in his farm lamenting, he sighted a frail old man being dragged to the outskirts of the village by the queen's guards. They dropped him at the entry of a forbidden forest where no one dares to go and left quickly. Timbo rushed and carried the weak, frail old man to his farm and nursed him back to consciousness with the little water he had left. The old man opened his eyes and smiled at the sight of Timbo. He said to him, "I know I can't die with my secret. I will pass it on to you, my son. Else, this village would be burnt down to ashes by the cooking pot, and every villager would be a roasted skeleton." Curious and scared, Timbo listened attentively as the old man spilled dirty history about the village. He said to Timbo, "There was a man named Oyinta. He was a good friend of mine. We worked as the queen's closest guard in the palace. I noticed that the queen became fond of Oyinta. She would invite him into her room at odd hours and touched him suggestively when no one was looking. Oyinta always toned her down and reminded her that he was married. In the thick atmosphere of one evening, I heard Oyinta's voice, wailing and begging for justice. He screamed that he did not sleep with the queen, but the angry mobs of the village dragged him towards the forbidden forest, where his fate was decided by jungle injustice. His body laid on the thick bush, breathless as his spirit wandered into the forbidden forest. The queen, with a mischievous smile, felt accomplished with Oyinta's demise. That's the fate of everyone who refused the queen's invitation to her bed. Amidst the violence and chaos of the evening, the queen ordered Oyinta's wife, Oyinta, and her daughter to be pushed away from living together with the villagers. She shouldn't be seen in the village meeting or in any public gathering. She is seen as filthy, therefore she shouldn't fetch water in any river or be seen in the marketplace or talk to anyone. Oyinta and her daughter lived below a pauper's life with no food nor water. Oyinta's daughter grew weak, lean, pale, and sick. She snuck out to the village river to get some water to cook herbs for her daughter. Unknowing to her, one of the queen's spies caught her. He followed her back to her place. As she started to cook her herbs, the spy screamed and cursed at her, attracting the attention of other villagers who ran to the scene. Oyinta begged the villagers with tears in her eyes, saying that her daughter Suki is sick and needed some herbs. But her pleas fell on defiant ears. The spy took a handful of sand and poured it into the cooking pot of herbs. Spikes of hot herbs flew out of the pot and landed inside Suki's eyes. She turned blind instantly. Oyinta was further pushed and dragged by the villagers. She knew she would face the same fate as her husband. She screamed, and with a heavy heart, she laid a curse over the village. She collapsed and died, and Suki wandered aimlessly through the forbidden forest. Oyinta's cooking pot of herb became a menace to the village. It never stopped cooking. Even the greatest native doctor said that the only person that could stop the pot from cooking was Suki, Oyinta's daughter. I embarked on the journey to find Suki, and to my greatest surprise, she was a crowned queen among the banished women who lived inside the forbidden forest. I begged her to come back to the village with me, but she said that she can only come back to rule. The residing queen has to step down, and the banished women will return along with her. I carried this information back to the queen, but she disagreed rebelliously and ordered for my arrest. I have been in prison since my youth. You have to find Suki and make her the queen. With that, the old man took his last breath. Shocked Timbo stood up and ran back to the village in fear. His nose was welcomed with a suffocating smoke as he wept for his dying village. Timbo went around sharing the story about the cooking pot to strong men in the village. As they planned their freedom, the men of the village organized a coup to dethrone the residing queen, while some went in search of Suki. The day the coup is to happen, Timbo led the village youths to the queen's chambers and ordered her to surrender peacefully. The queen declined and charged for a fight with her well-skilled guards behind her. A war ensued, with swords clashing through the sky, men groaning in pain, women and children running for their lives, the cooking pot creating a hell on earth. Timbo captured the queen, and the rest of the guards surrendered. Shortly, some village men arrived with Suki, their new queen, and other women who have been victims of injustice. Suki walked up to the cooking pot of herbs amidst the heat. She might be blind, but the vibrations of the earth guides her footsteps. She took a sip from the pot, and in a loud tone she said, "Mother, may your pain be felt no more. Your daughter is safe and sound." At that moment, the fire beneath the pot ceased burning, and the pot turned cold. The village experienced a new dawn. End of my story. Like and follow my page.